everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage and part 2 of our winch and winch bumper extravaganza on our 2003 Ram 3500. I would also like to have a front trailer hitch on it. Now this one I pulled off a 1500 Ram in the junkyard, and as you can see I didn't realize at that time how different they were. It's not wide enough, and it hangs way too low. It's just that the 1500, the frame is configured a lot differently in the front end than these heavy duty frames. So I'm going to decide now if I'm going to try to work with this or just completely make something else. I got the winch bucket all welded up, ground down the welds. I got the bottom of it painted. It's shiny now, but it is a semi-gloss black, so it should tone down. And then tomorrow we'll flip it over and paint the top side of it. Same thing here. We got our front trailer hitch made. In the end, I was trying to make one from nothing, and that wasn't going to work. So what I did, this is a rear hitch from a second-gen Ram, and it was quite easy to just kind of cut it down and weld it back together how I need it. So that should all work out good. Same thing, we'll flip that over tomorrow and paint the other side. All I've got left to do with this, I've got to drill a couple of holes in the bottom of the frame on the truck. I hate drilling holes in trucks, but that's okay. Well, we got the Claremont Classic Garage handy dandy trailer hitch installing assistant ready here. I'm going to shove this thing up against the frame. Then I'm going to lay underneath there on the creeper with my drop light for about half an hour and decide if I can bring myself to drill 6 holes in this beautiful, clean, rust-free frame. I put my big boy pants on and started drilling holes in the truck. The other side's done, and I'm going to show you on this side what we have to do and what we're up against. So, theoretically, you would like to put 1, 2, 3 bolts up through this. The one I have one off of 1500. Unfortunately, it wasn't wide enough for this, as I showed you before. It was held on with 3 7/16 bolts. So we're going to hang this one with 2 1/2-inch grade 8 bolts. Now the problem is, normally you would like to get one in here, you know. We can't, because up in the front here, you can see this reinforcement. That's so when you tighten the front bumper, you don't crush the frame rail. So this thing is sitting in there. So what I've done is I've made this bridge out of 1/2-inch plate, and it's going to go on like that. And the front bolt will be, you can see there, it's going to span this gap, but the bolt's going to go through the gap, which will put the bolt behind that thing, and everything will be good. So all you have to do, you get in there with a screwdriver. I can't do it with only one hand. Pop that up, and we'll pivot this out. This thing snaps in, and then they tack weld the top of it, so it's kind of welded in there. I can't take it right out, but we can get it out enough so that it's out of our way. You can see on this one, their cheesy weld actually broke, so we could probably just take this one right out. And that's all it is. We'll put it back in when we're done. First thing I got to do is drill the hole there and a hole there, and when I'm done that, I'll be back and we'll put it together. Our first hole is drilled. And we can just reach in there and get our bolt in. Whoop. Almost had it in. There it is. Something wrong with Stuart. I wonder what it could be. Alright, we got that one in. Now we can run the drill up, drill this hole, and get our other bolt in. There we are. It's all back together and torqued up. Now we can pop this thing back in and get to the next step. I got the face bar on. Now we're going to get the winch bucket in. Well, that was fun. A lot of reaching in and twisting around and stuff. But we've got the bumper is securely bolted to the truck now. Everything is tight. I've got all these things, these plastic things that hold up the bumper cover are all on. What a nightmare they were. They up here in the rust belt, they've just got J-nuts stuck in this. And when you try to undo them, it just all goes to pot. You can't put heat on them because it's plastic. Oh, dear. Anyway, we got it. Lucky I had a couple of extra pieces, so that made it a little easier. So the next step, we've got to get the proper bumper cover trimmed out and put on. And we have to get the chin spoiler trimmed out and put on. And get the fog lights and everything back in. And it should look pretty good. The chrome on that bumper actually is not too bad, is it? Now I've put the cover on the bumper. We have to set the height of the bumper. Right now, it's a little high. It's just about touching the bottom of the headlights. And what's going to happen is when I pop the hood, you have to be able to get your hands under there for the safety catch. And we still are going to lose another 1/4 of an inch with the step pad here. So I'm going to loosen off the bolts and just lower the bumper down a little bit on each side. And we'll see how she looks. I got the bumper adjusted for height, and then you can also, it's got tilt too. So I used the bottle jack and we got the tilt set, and that was good. I got all the bolts, the bracket bolts torqued, the bumpers on good and strong now. Then I went and I had to take a little notch out of the air dam and a little notch here on either side just to clear this hitch. And we got the air dam put on. This one doesn't exactly fit perfectly. It's the original one from this truck, and it had been hit right about here and kind of deformed it a bit. So I figured that was a good one to do my experimental fitting with. I got the license plate holder on. I'm going to have to take it back off at some point when I bolt the winch on, but I just wanted to make sure that it fits in. I was going to kind of cut the top of it down a little bit so it fit a little bit better. But then I started looking around and found out you don't find too many of these license plate brackets in the junkyard. They're always broken. And I think it was probably optional for the dealers to supply those and put them on, because the license plate does screw directly to the bumper. So there's not too many of them around. I could still buy it new, but it's like $70. So for now, that's going to be okay. Next, what we got to do, we're going to pull the bumper cover off, and we have to take our little notch out of it and do whatever little bit of body work we have to do to it and paint it to match. Here we've got our bumper cover trimmed nicely to fit around the winch. I had to sneak up on it a bit. I couldn't just copy that old gray one because that's an 06 to 08. And it's got a lot more of a squared off bullnose at the front of it. Where this is the 03 to 05 correct one for the truck. And it's more rounded off. So we just snuck up on it, cut a little bit at a time till we got it right. And then I've test fit just a little piece of edge molding around it to finish off where we cut. I had to cut a couple of holes here just as a relief for these screws that hold the bumper crossbar in place. Otherwise, this would sit on top of them and we'd never get our step pad on. But that's good. So now we could take everything apart and start painting. I gave the winch a little splash of paint. I just painted over the old Ramsey decal here because the black on it was all, it was finished. But you can get reproduction ones. So I'm waiting on one of those to come. And when it comes, we'll put a new Ramsey decal on it. I put a new hook on it. So now we're getting ready to, I got to now run some cables and find somewhere to locate the solenoid box, because it just can't go on the winch. I found a nice spot down in the fender there in front of basically in front of the heater box. to mount the solenoids. And I've got the cables led to the battery to power the solenoids. Now I'm going to just run, I've got to get some cables down to the winch motor. Now I got to feed the motor cables for the winch up through this fender and everything back to the back corner where the solenoids are. So I might do it from the top here. I might do it from the bottom. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm still kind of looking around, but we'll figure it out. I've got the motor cables in. They're attached to the solenoids. I've also got the, I guess you could call it the control cable, the low current cable that goes to the switch or the handheld controller. I've run them underneath the battery box, under the air box, and it's coming out here and behind the headlight, and we'll figure that out. First I want to get the air box back in. So here's the other end of our control wire. Yes, it's an old cord off a vacuum cleaner. You just don't throw stuff around. I need a nice cord with 3 conductors in it, and well, that's what we've got. So what I've done before I shorten these motor cables, I've just crudely hooked them up, and I want to make sure that she's going to turn in and out, right? So there's in and there's out. So that's good. We can go ahead, do the final routing in the front of the truck of our cables and get this all cleaned up. There's our cables cleaned up. Right here where they go in between here, it's a little tight, so I doubled the corrugated loom so they're well protected. And rather than shorten them, I decided to just put a loop in behind the bumper. That way they retain their original length because, well, once you cut them, they're cut. Somewhere along the line, this bumper, somebody had put some lights on it and they drilled 2 holes in each side. I think I know what I'm going to do on this side to hide these holes. But on this side, that's where we put our plug for the handheld controller for the winch. Now we need to change the plug on our winch controller. I think this one is for a Warren. Well, we need it to work for on a Ramsey. So that's the plug we got to put on. The answer invariably was... Interesting, that one's got 5 wires. Ours only has 3. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, so down should be in. No, I've got it backwards. Okay, give me a sec. Well, here goes nothing. Let's see. Down should be in. Look at that. It's in. And up should be out. Good. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to wind a little bit of cable out because it's gotten all loose on the spool and that is not good. The only way to really fix it is once I get the truck outside, I'll have to basically unwind the whole spool, tie it to a tree or something, and put the truck in neutral and let it under load. Let it pull the cable in, and that'll wind it tightly on the winch. But for now, we can get it close. And there we have it. Like I said, the cable is a mess. We'll deal with that when we get it outside. It's going to need a new cable anyway. You can see here it's got a few little things like that. And once you start seeing stuff like that, it's time for a new cable. Now we can close her up. Outstanding. I'd say that looks pretty darn good. Yeah, I like that. All I got left to do now is put the fog lights in, but I need to find them first. All right, I found the fog lights and stuck them in. I put a coat of trim black on the bezels so they look snazzy. Yeah, I checked them out. They work. It's all good. That'll look great once we get our new Ramsey decal in the mail. And like I said, we will be putting a new cable on this at some point. But for now, we'll survive with this one. I just stuck a couple of push fasteners in them other two holes in the bumper. I've got a plan for what to do with those holes, but I'm not at that point yet. That turned out pretty well. The white paint on the bumper cover is off a little bit. It's just Duplicolor touch-up paint that I got in a spray can. I will keep my eyes peeled. Eventually in the junkyard I will find one of those that's the right color with nice factory paint on it, and I will grab that and we will cut it out and get that on there. But for now, that looks more than acceptable. I kind of like this. It turned out pretty well, I think. I wanted to have a winch on the front of it. I didn't want it stuck in a trailer hitch and sticking way out. I didn't want one of those huge aftermarket bumpers. I just wanted it as integrated as I could get it in the stock bumper. So I think we've accomplished that, and I think it looks great. Well, that's a wrap on that project. We have a winch bumper on the Ram Dually. I just started doing it. I didn't really have anything drawn out or planned out. We just started cutting and welding and going for it and solving the problems as they popped up. And hey, in the end, it worked out pretty well. I'm going to take off now. Want to thank you for supporting our channel. Hope you'll come back and see us again. And until then, this is Kevin saying so long from the Claremont Classic Garage.